Me too.
Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, you all know what I said about the theme music. Okay, because today I am not in my space, I'm not in my normal space, I'm in the office, but I want to have more of a community feel to this because this is a community conversation, right? So go ahead and share, share, share. If you have people that could use this conversation, I have my guest. You see, she's here ready and waiting for us. And so if you have people who could really benefit from what does Black Lives Matter mean to me, okay, then go ahead and share this on your page and invite them to watch because I have with me Dr. Barbara Lavi, and we're going to talk about what Black Lives mean to me. It's a project she's working on. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself and then we're going to start the conversation. So welcome to the mixer, Dr. Lavi. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. It's a beautiful evening here in Connecticut. Uh, had some nicer weather, waiting for the hurricane, but
Yeah, oh
hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully it won't be too bad. And I'm
absolutely.
excited to be here. Um, I am a psychologist. I've been in the field since around the Yom Kippur War in 1973. I was working on my master's in Israel, and
Oh,
then moved to the United States in 81, I believe, and did my doctorate here. And I've been here for many, many years. I moved from Massachusetts to Connecticut in 2000, just before 9/11. And
okay.
so I have been in the field for many years and have been working with, with, with the issues of trauma and how to handle. I guess I like to think of it as the growth that can come out of traumatic events rather than
Yeah,
just the negatives that come out of traumatic events. And I
yeah.
think I was a positive psychologist before there was a name for it because my work in Israel was to try to help figure out what helps kids to deal with war, father absence, and death of a father during war. So
Mm,
right from the get-go, I was helping people figure out how to deal with tough situations. And over the course of my career, from 9/11 to Newtown, to the Boston, marathon bombings, to the school shootings, I go out and help people whenever things like that happen.
yeah, yeah. You do a great work, by the way. I mean, your history, we've talked about your history and some of the things that you have done, the places you have been are just, I mean, your whole life is a story. I love listening to the different stories about the different places and all the things that you've done. And you've had quite an eventful life,
Well,
quite eventful.
I've been fortunate to find a career where I can help people with things.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
started before, even when I was a kid. I grew up in Houston, Texas, um, to a family of a liberal Jewish family. My father was an attorney, and he taught us, he wanted everyone to have representation, and he
Yeah.
fought for it. And he had clients from all backgrounds. I remember visiting homes in communities that were very different from ours, and I never thought anything of it. And my father just said, everybody deserves to have good representation, and that's what I'm going to give him. I know he didn't always collect his fees. He wasn't a wealthy lawyer at all. Um, but I learned from him that to just judge people by who they are, and that the color of
Absolutely.
their skin doesn't dictate who they are. And in high school, I was very active in a Jewish youth group, but I also did volunteer work, and I was a dancer. And I remember going to the other side of town, which in Houston at the time there was no belt around the city, and you had to drive for about an hour or more
Mm,
to get to the other side of town. And I taught ballet, and I remember those
yeah.
little girls were so happy that I would come and teach them ballet, and I did
Mm,
it for probably a year, and it was wonderful. Um, I also, you know, grew up during the '60s, and with the marches and the other things that were going on, I was still young, but I was aware of what was going on, and my family was involved and cared about it and fought for it. Um, so those are some of the kinds of stories that led to my being who I am and to
Yeah.
caring. Fast forward to what happened most recently with the murder of George Floyd and being stuck in, quarantine or stuck, locked down in Connecticut and feeling outrage, sorrow, disgust. I mean, you name it. And about a week before that happened, I said that everybody would be out on the streets protest if it weren't for this pandemic. And lo and behold,
Right.
it grew. And I think my biggest fear was that people would get very sick from
Mm.
demonstrating. And I
Yeah.
didn't go out because I haven't gone out since March. I mean, I'm just sort of, I've
Right.
been at home, but I said I have to do something. Um, right
Yeah.
after the pandemic, I wrote a book for kids to help them understand what's happening with the pandemic, and it's a
Hmm.
children's book that I'm giving away for free online. And then the idea came to me to do something to, I believe, to change society. It has to start from the ground up. It needs to
Absolutely.
start from the next generation. Parents and children need to be working together and trying to understand how we got here and how to make a change. And
Yes.
it came to me to do a project, which would be a contest for kids where all the kids win. Anyone who enters wins and gets some feedback and gets some kind of a prize on why Black Lives Matter to me. And
Mm.
initially, I was thinking of it for white privilege, to help people understand white privilege. But I think it's actually good for children of all races, religions, ethnic backgrounds to think about it and to say, why does it matter to me? Why is it important? Why do we all have to think about it? And
Yeah.
and and so that's where it came from. And as I was doing it, my nephew in California, who is a musician and an artist on the side, but mainly a musician, has a young daughter. And I said, I think I want this to benefit the social justice books, which is children's books about social justice.
Hmm.
And he said, "Oh, I was just looking for books for my daughter, and she's around 2." So I was
Aw. Aw.
looking for my daughter, and it looks like a great site. And he said it's a great idea. So that's how I decided who to benefit from this, and
Okay. So
that's it.
so Sheena wants to know the name of your children's book.
My children's book is Rama, the loneliest llama, and I'll
Okay.
tell
Oh
you the
yeah.
story. You can it's if you go on Facebook and you look up Rama, the loneliest llama, and
Spell
then
Rama for me.
Llama, the animal,
No,
Lla,
Rama.
the llama.
What is the Rama? Yeah.
Rama,
What is
Rama,
Rama's name?
Rama is the first name of the llama. The book is
Right.
Rama,
Spell that for me.
Rama,
Thank you.
Rama, the loneliest llama. And if you go on Facebook to Rama, the loneliest llama, and you just say shop now, it'll download the book for you. It's going to
Oh,
come
how
out on
good.
Amazon too in paperback form soon,
Oh, good.
but it's not ready yet, and it'll be reformatted. It'll be even better. But we're going to keep
Okay.
the free copy because I want everybody, anyone with a small child, from the ages of around 5 to third grade, and the third grader or fourth grader might say, "Oh, that's for little kids," but if they read it to their siblings or you read it with them, they'll learn things and they'll benefit from it as well. And
Absolutely. So tell us, you were going to tell me before I interrupted you, you were going to tell me about the basis of where the book came from.
which book? The Rama?
Rama. Hmm.
Rama, I live in a small town near Westport, Connecticut. It's Weston, Connecticut. And in Weston, the lots are big. I don't know a lot of my neighbors because I work from my home. I have for years, and I moved here not long ago. So I don't know many of the neighbors, but I walk in my neighborhood, and it's a beautiful walk. And one of the houses actually has a llama in its yard. And the
Hmm.
llama used to have a friend. And the llama, as I've started walking almost every day, would come up to the fence and wave, wave its ears and pose for pictures. I mean, literally, the llama was kind of lonely. And I walked past it and I said, that would be a good story about the llama who's wondering why the heck are there no kids around and why aren't they playing with me and why can't I go to school and all of those issues that children and adults are struggling with. And so
Yeah.
I contacted my nephew who, because I don't draw well. I'm artistic, but I don't draw well. And so I asked him if he could help me to draw the animal characters. And then I colored them and I added photos so that the image, I put the things together, and
Hmm.
I've got the color side, but I'm not a good drawer. And i and pulled this book together quickly so that parents can use it with their kids. And
Yeah.
I'm finding that it's helping parents and that they're liking it. And
Oh.
the mama is confused. He doesn't know why. He has a nightmare, and then his parents tell him about what's going on and tell him what we can do to make things
Mm.
better. So
And see,
it leads to things that children can do to make a difference, because the more we can do
oh,
something, the better we'll feel. And I think this
absolutely.
pandemic has us all feeling like what can we do? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we can protect ourselves and how to protect ourselves. And we're worried about being close to other people, which is awful. And so it comes up with things that children and adults can do to feel better and to feel that they're contributing. Just like I felt about why Black Lives Matter to me, that I can't go out right now. It's not,
Mm.
I would otherwise. I'd be out there.
Right.
And I
And that's the same thing. Yeah, that's the same thing I'm going through in that I have a lot of comorbidities. So I cannot be out walking or among large groups of people. And people who are brave enough to go out, they're like, well, let them come to this party. Well, come do this and come do that. And I have health concerns that won't allow me to be out. Especially, and then there's like the pollen and stuff is going crazy too, in addition to everything else that's going on. So I'm like you. I've been sheltered in place for the most of the last 4 months. Like since March 15th, my entire life has changed dramatically. But so let's talk about your project though, because it's why Black Life Matters to me, and it's a contest for young people. So let's talk about what that is and how we can support that. I remember you saying it'll start in October, but now is a good time to start having the conversation about it. So let's talk
right,
about that.
we could use help in multiple ways. If someone wants to become active and help us, we have a steering committee. There are lots of jobs and lots of things people can help with, from trying to get some prizes for kids. I've reached out to various businesses to see if we can get, preferably downloadable. If anyone
Mm.
has a book, my book is one of the things that people can download and we can send out. There's a book called Race Cars that's written by a social worker, and she's also a graphic artist, and it is on Amazon, and it's about white privilege, and it's using the cars racing as the imagery, and
Hmm.
that's one of the prizes that we will have. And she said I can send some books. I said, well, I don't know if we're going to have the money for postage. An ebook would be better. She said, oh, I understand. So that may be something that winners will get. We want
Mm.
every child to get something. And so talking to people in the community to get some donations. I talked to an artist that I found just the other day who wants to help us out. And she said, well, if I find 10 artists and they all donate stickers, you know, each of them donate 100 stickers, we could send them out to, a lot of children. So any ideas that people have for prizes or organizations, anyone who's computer savvy and knows Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to need social media presence and getting it out there so that kids know about it. Um, we're going to need educators and artists to help with the judging. And
Mm,
when I talk to Teaching for Change is the parent organization for social justice books, and I talked to the head of Teaching for Change, and she said that she would prefer that money went to make sure that every child gets some kind of feedback about their essay or their drawing or their video, where their kids can do any of the three things to present their ideas. So it can be an art project, it can be an essay or a short essay, or a video just saying why I'm so and so, and this is why it matters to me. And it could be a
mm,
story about their best friend who is black, and that they feel badly that they're treated differently. I don't know what kids are going to present, but we
right.
want to give them all feedback. So educators or artists who want to be involved in that stage of the work can help with that, so that we send them some kind of feedback. This is a great drawing. You made a really good point. Kids can make memes. They can make posters that they would take to a demonstration. It's open to their creativity, to
Yeah.
whatever they want to do. And the other thing we'll be doing is giving some recommendations of books for parents to read, or parents to read with kids, to help them prepare for this and to think about it as they develop their project, because each child
Mm,
you know may want to develop, and we're doing it from kindergarten through high school. So it's not just for
mm,
little kids. And so the older kids may
yeah.
want to think about it more, and their projects will be more elaborate. The other thing that we're going to do, and the decision at first was around publishing their art or essays. I don't know what we'll do about the videos. It may be that there'll be a video book as well, but we want to
That
publish
would
a
be
book
great.
and then sell it to raise proceeds for this it's Teaching for Change and social justice books. Because the more we can educate children, the more we can support writers who are writing for kids about this, the more we can change minds and make a difference. And that's my
I think
whole
it's a wonderful project. I love
idea.
it. I love the project because and it's open to nationally. Like it's not just to one part of the country. It's open everywhere. And it's to get the young people to talking because we all interact and if you can change mind, you change hearts, right? And so I think it's a great project. I love that you're using all means of visual and written art to get it
Mhm.
done. I mean, I just think it's a great project and
Yeah.
count me in as a supporter and
And
I'll do whatever you
I
have me
can't
to
wait
do.
to see what they come up with.
Yeah, because it's gonna be magnificent. I mean, guys, it covers the whole United States, and I know people think, well, that organization that has that those letters may not be who they appear to be, but there are other people out here like teaching to what is it, teaching to change, the organization
Teaching
that
for
teaching
Teaching
for
for
change.
change.
Okay, so
Not the book.
organizations like Teaching for Change are out here and they are trying to change hearts because before you can change minds, you have to actually get to that emotional part of us that directs how we think. And so, it's a wonderful project, and I just had to have you on. And I thank our girl Geraldine because she always hooks me up with the best people in the country here. She does. She really does. And she was like, "You need to talk to Dr. Lavi. You need to talk to her. Y'all need to have a conversation." And I enjoyed our conversation. We talked about everything. Like I said, your stories it's just like just sitting and watching a movie play. I mean, it's very, very, you've had a robust life and had some very, very um, inspiring moments and things where you've helped so many people. And so when you're talking about, so if anybody wanted to reach out to you to be a part of this project, what is the simplest way for them to get to you?
Oh, goodness. Um, I, I believe through Jerry Lynn's handle
Okay,
on LinkedIn, and
okay,
she has a link where people, I could look
I'll
for it.
publish. I'll publish it. I will make sure I go get
Right.
it. Yeah,
She
I'm
has a
attached to
link
her too.
where anyone who wants to volunteer can fill out the form and say what they'd like to do and how they'd like to help.
That is
And
perfect.
it's nifty. I'm not the computer person. I'm not the I mean I do certain things on the computer, but I'm not the one who comes up with these apps. And she did an app, and people can, fill it out, and then we'll have your information and get you hooked up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? Jerry Lynn just sent it to me to make
Oh,
sure I
good.
had it. Thanks,
Oh,
Jerry
good.
Lynn. I appreciate you. She just emailed it to me to make sure that I have it. So yeah, so
Okay.
we're gonna put that on this broadcast here on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And if you or your organization would like to support this effort, now is the time to jump in with ideas of how you can get the information out, because we want as many young people as we can find throughout the United States, right? And abroad, if you come from abroad, we want you to participate, and we want you to send in your entries. Get the young people to send in their entries of why Black Lives Matters, what Black Lives Matters means to me. I'll get it right in a minute. What Black Lives Matter means to me,
So
and it's from a young person's experience.
there's someone who's donating a course for kids to, it's called Artful Food.
Mm.
And she teaches kids how to use healthy foods to make artful projects.
Ah.
I saw it through something on the happiness. There's a course from Yale called The Science of Well-Being, and it's a
Hmm.
wonderful course that's being given for free that anybody who wants to learn about how to be happier should take.
Oh, wow.
And they have a website on Facebook where someone posted these food mandalas, these gorgeous pieces of food that she had done with a class of adults. And so I wrote to her and I said, "Can you do this with kids?" And she said, "Well, actually, it started with kids, and she's willing to donate a class to some of the winners." And so one of the things that I'm thinking of or trying to do is to connect to some of the supermarkets, the national chains, and see if they can give coupons to kids that enter so that they could purchase food in order to
Do the
possibly do
artwork. Yeah,
this
to do the
artwork.
artwork. Yeah, that's
So,
wonderful. It's
so
just like thinking outside the box. I mean, it's not. This is a non-traditional situation. I mean, well, it's a traditional situation, but this is a creative way of handling a traditional situation, I guess. I
mhm.
love it. I love it. I love the fact that people are being creative and that people are joining in, and they see that what your project is about. And I think it's a great project. I think it's going to
Uh,
get kids, because kids are so creative. They
if
have a
people
different lens on the world.
if people who are listening are into Zumba or teach Zumba or teach hip hop, that's another thing that we could do a Zoom class for people that take part, kids that take part. And all it means is recording a class for kids that they can take part in. And so
Absolutely.
it expose, and I would say, and I would add to the music some things to do with social change, so that the
Hmm.
music will also be on the theme. So I've taught, I do Zumba on a regular basis. So I've talked
I
to
love
some of my
Zumba.
Zumba instructors, and they're going to get back to me about that. So we're any idea that you have that you think, because we can't do things in person, a lot of the stuff and the prizes need to be online options. But that also gives us opportunity to do new things. An art class, somebody who teaches art could do an art class to teach them how to draw animals. I actually took a class like that, a storyteller's class, when I was working on the book. And they taught some simple skills to make some animals and things. And I probably could have learned to do it if somebody had ever taught me when I was a kid. But I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
couldn't do it. And so even a simple class like that, a half-hour class online, could be one of the kinds of prizes that we give.
absolutely, absolutely. So I have many business people that follow me. So you business owners who have digital products, if you want to be a part of something big, if you want to be a part of something national, then this is your opportunity to let people know you're here and to let people know you care. And so you can actually, so I will put the link of how to get connected in the top of this video. I will make sure it's there. And then we will support you and we will get the word out and do all we can to make sure that families have conversations that will change the world. I love it. I love it.
Right.
It is so great. Thank you so much for coming on for me today. I've enjoyed our conversations. I'm telling you, I enjoyed our conversations. And I'm so glad Jerry Lynn did connect us and that we were able to talk a while offline and get to know one another. It has been a joy just to meet you. I mean, you're
I,
an amazing lady
for
doing
me too.
amazing things.
For me too. I'm just. I guess whenever you open yourself up to start meeting people from other places, things.
Yeah,
And it was. I had a
exactly.
wonderful time talking to you. And again, I don't know if I would have met you otherwise. And Jerry Lynn, I met. I'm not even sure exactly how. I think it was many, many years ago when we were both on Women Who Launch. So I
Okay.
have, I have she's been in my LinkedIn feed for a long time,
She's an
and
amazing lady.
I haven't been in touch with her for years, and I don't even remember what we did when we first met. but but I saw something on a feed on LinkedIn, and I said, "Oh, I got to contact her. That's the person."
Oh,
And it's just sort of falling into place in that way.
that's a
The same
great
thing
thing.
happened. I joined some authors groups on LinkedIn, and artists as well because of this children's book. And I posted that I'm doing this, and a woman who had just lost her job said, "You know what? This is a great idea. I don't know how I can help you, but tell me more." And she's going to help. And she's, I mean,
See,
I would never have met her. She wouldn't have met me. It's just, and she's great. And so that's how it's happening, just grassroots. And
just organically, absolutely. And I love it. I love that we have this time to meet people that we wouldn't have met any other way. I think that COVID has allowed us to slow down and to sit down and to start cultivating relationships in our houses and abroad. And so I love that. I love that about this experience that while I may not be able to attend a live event, that I'm able to reach around the world and meet just so many fascinating people and bring them on the business mixer so that other people who follow me can meet too. So this has
I,
been great. I mean,
yeah, I've been in touch with friends in Israel, a cousin in Spain, California. It's that part of it is really wonderful, and to
absolutely.
reconnect with people that I may have seen a few years ago, but I haven't been in touch with for a while, and it's kind of wonderful. That part is
It
nice.
is. Absolutely. It has been very nice. I talked to one of my mothers at the church. I haven't been to church, been going to church either because I've been in the house. I mean, I went a couple of times and I just, because of my health, I just didn't feel safe. So I've been at the house, but I was able to reach out to one of my church mothers this morning and we haven't talked weeks. And those 45 minutes we spent reconnecting this morning just lifted my entire day. It's just good to connect. It's just good to connect. And so I do thank you for the time that you have spent with me. If people want to contact you concerning your other service, what you do in your real job, can
Uh-huh.
they contact you for that?
Uh, actnowpsychotherapy.com is the best
At
place.
Act Now
actnowpsychotherapy.com.
Psychotherapy.com.
And that
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that stands for active, creative, time-sensitive therapy. And
Mm,
it's my version of helping people as quickly as I can. Uh, Although they may be my clients for life, we'll work as quickly as we can, and then they move on. And if they need to come back for a tune-up, they do. And I
that's
and
good.
that's and it's creative, and I bring in various types of therapy into my work.
That's
And
good.
I've been working online on Doctor on Demand for 5 years, 6 years since they opened. So
Okay.
working remotely isn't new to me, and I think there are some benefits to it. There's some downsides, but in general, I'm doing only online work now, and
Yeah.
probably. until there's a a vaccine for this horrible disease.
Well, great, because so many people don't feel like they have access to therapy. And so I think it's great that you're doing it online. It makes it more accessible to more people.
Yeah.
So people who can't come out can still get therapy, because in these times, and you may feel like you're by yourself. If you're following me, you may feel like you're by yourself. This is the doctor I told you I spoke to, and she said, Linda, if you want to help people, then teach them how to get away from their hopelessness, and how they feel like they're out of control right now, like they have no control. So she asked me to help people with their uncertainty and with their helplessness, and I'll be helping people. And so, last week I had my local person, Alicia, April Taylor came on with me. And then this week I have the doctor in the house. And so if you are needing someone to help you to keep going, to get coping skills, it's all about trying to build up resistance to this, not just to the disease itself, but also what it's doing to our minds and to our bodies.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's I have had in my private practice and in Doctor on Demand, and not just in my practice, but all the doctors there from all across the country are booked up the gazoo.
Mm,
And I think it's because people are overwhelmed, and I think it's going to be like that for a while. That
mm,
people are going to need assistance. That we know that nurses and doctors are on the front line, but psychotherapists and psychologists are on the front line as well.
absolutely.
And the front line is helping people to recognize there are many things we can't control, but what we can do is recognize that if there's something we can do, we should try to do it, even if we can't do the whole job. Like I can't run this project by myself. I knew that. I knew I needed the help of lots of people.
Mm,
Another example I give to people, I heard in the beginning of the pandemic that they need that they needed PPE, and I also heard on television that a 3D printer
mm-hmm.
can make PPE.
Yep.
And I know that in Westport, Connecticut, which is one town over, they have a 3D machine, and the library's closed, and it's going to waste. So I put two and two together, and I looked up the head of the library, and I sent him an email. And I said, look, I think, the person who runs that machine won't be endangering himself if he goes in and gets the machine to make PPE. And all the other libraries that may have this equipment, could you please let them know to all start making PPE? And I forgot about it. And I said, that's what I could do. I can't make PPE. I can't do it through that 3D machine. I don't have one. I did it. I forgot about it. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at my email that was all stacked up, and I saw one from the library and realized it was from the director of the library. And he was thanking me, and he said, that's a great idea, and I will let all my counterparts know.
Oh, that's so great. That is wonderful.
So
That is
if you have
absolutely
an
wonderful.
idea, if you have an
Yeah.
idea, even if you can't complete it, tell somebody.
Tell somebody. Tell
And
somebody your idea.
it's better to do something than to sit back and say, oh, we don't have PPE, or we don't have this, or we don't have. But if you have an idea and can figure out a way, by all means, go ahead. And
Yeah,
don't worry about the things that you can't change, because those we can't know when we'll be going back to school exactly, or when we'll have a vaccine. But if there's something you can do it. You'll feel better. Join
absolutely.
with other people like this project. There are other projects out there, and and you'll feel better. You won't feel as isolated or as helpless.
Absolutely. That is great advice. And I love that that idea actually works. I mean, right? Because yeah, and who knows, somebody watching this probably has a 3D printer somewhere sitting. And this may generate an idea for them to, oh yeah, we can activate that. Because the face shields, I was looking, they were talking about
Yeah,
the mask with the face shields. And here locally, our school, we have Baylor, one of the private schools, and they were doing some things for a time. And then we have the campus, the Chattanooga State campus, and they were doing some things for a time. It's going to take a collective effort from everybody. Us thinking, using our heads and just thinking about what can we do to make this better?
And for kids, giving them some ideas of what they can do to make it better is also
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah,
I
I saw a post one of my
this
friends
there too.
yeah, I saw a post one of my friends, Michael, posted, and it was an image of a kid on the outside that had tattered clothes and was trying to write notes through a window while the other kid was being able to use the computer from home. Like we have to be cognizant of every kid doesn't have access. Like some kids are
Yeah,
homeless and they're sleeping in cars. And so if
yeah,
when we do online courses, we need to remember those children too,
yeah.
so that they don't get left behind and forgotten. So
Well,
yeah, so that's a good thing.
I know that in New York City, as soon as things shut down and the schools shut down, my husband's a special ed teacher.
Okay,
They got computers and not laptops, iPads
the iPads, yeah,
to all the students. They made sure
yeah,
that every child, he's in special ed, they made sure that every child had it. They also did things to try to make sure they would have internet access.
yeah.
And
We're
they,
just catching
some of
up
the
to
kids
that.
are very poor. Some of the kids in his school are very poor.
Yeah,
And they have, now, I don't know across the United States how well they've done with those kinds of things. The woman that I talked to, the artist that I talked to, also was wondering, what about kids who don't have computer access? And we need to think about that and maybe come up with ways by a library or a neighbor's computer to encourage people that know of somebody who has a child who doesn't have computer access to let them somehow use theirs.
right.
That,
The,
that
the, the high schools here give out iPads
hmm
to the students. They're assigned iPads, but I don't think they get to take them home. But they get to use them while they're in school. So maybe for the higher grades, they can do it from home. And here in the city, we have hot spots where the city actually has internet access. It's just getting
yeah,
to those hot spots so that they can go online and do their work. Like at a McDonald's, McDonald's has Wi-Fi that kids can use, and then the city in all the parks here in the city has free
the,
access to internet.
the school system probably should have distributed those iPads to all those kids in high school so that they could have them at home.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they did, but that's what they did very quickly, because they had iPads in the school, but
Hmm.
they made sure that they all got home so that they could do it. And they've had some very interesting progress with kids because the parents need to sit with the child who's special ed, and
Hmm.
often it's the first time that parents are seeing what teachers are doing with their kids and how they're making progress.
Hmm.
So it's been an interesting phenomenon to
Hmm.
have special needs kids parents realize what's going on, because often you don't see it. It's like when you have a baby, you
Absolutely.
don't see it's growing every day.
Right.
But
Right.
with special needs kids, the progress is slow. So that the as hard as it is to do this distance teaching, and for parents to have to be involved, it's been it's had some positive impact too.
Absolutely. And it's been like that in the kids that are not special needs, right? A lot of people get to see what their teachers are dealing with by how their kids are interacting, right? They're getting to learn about their children because you send them to school and then you don't think about it. And then you come home and do the homework or whatever, try to help them there. But now you're getting to see how they interact in school and you're getting to see what the teachers experience. So you're having that experience out of your child. You're getting to know your children, and
I mean,
so that has been a great experience.
one of my husband's teachers, as soon as it happened, she immediately volunteered to go and distribute food. I mean, that's how much they care.
Yeah.
These teachers are just giving their all. And
Hmm.
again, with in New York City, with the pandemic at its height, she went to the school, which the New York City schools continued to distribute meals.
Hmm. Hmm.
She went to the school to help distribute meals.
Yeah, I've had several of my business owners when the school, like I think it was Tuesdays, they weren't providing meals, and several of my business owners volunteered to go provide food on the days that the schools didn't provide it, just to make sure that the children had the opportunity to have a meal. And so I know this has been a great community project. I know your community project is going to bring us even closer together. I'm advising anyone and everyone to please share this broadcast with your family and friends, and let's support this effort. Why Black Lives Matter to me is an art project, it's a community project, it's for the children, but it's to have help from the parents, it's to sit down and have conversations. It's in our hard conversations that we actually get to do growth, right? And so just understanding that this project is a national project, and if you're anywhere in the United States or if you're anywhere else that could use this support and support this project, then please do. I'm going to put all the links in the comments above this. If you will hold for a minute, Dr. Lavi, I'm going to exit out of this program. So thank you all for joining us today. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And today I am introducing you to Dr. Barbara Lavi and her project, What Black Lives Matters to Me. Why Black
Hi.
Lives Matter to Me. I'll get it right soon. Why Black Lives Matter to Me. I always say it wrong. But yeah, but this is her project. It's look for it in October. But in the interim, let's do the education and spread abroad all the information that you've heard here. So if you know any businesses, if you have any community groups, if you want to take it on as one of your youth group projects, like if you are over youth groups, this would be an excellent way for you to be participant in this project. So we'll see you guys next Sunday at 7. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you have any parting words for him, Dr. Lavin?
No, just thank you for having me. I'm so glad that you're helping with this, and I'm looking forward to how this full unfolds.
It's going to be
And
wonderful. I just know it is. So you all have a
okay,
great Sunday, and I'll see you next week at 7. Good
okay.
night.
Good night. Bye bye.